Okay, we are getting some practice clearing fractions, and I am trying to emphasize we can only do this for equations. So if we don't have an equation, we have to deal with the fractions. Okay, so we love equations. Let's put a heart around equations. We love those equations. So let's take a look at a first example. Let's move this baby up there a little bit. Okay. Oh, we're having a few technical difficulties. Let's get this to example 1. There we go. Okay. So, I see we have some fractions, and we may have done this problem before. We could always just deal with the fractions. But, I'm lazy. I like to get rid of those fractions, and I can do it in one step. The way we do it, we take a look at those denominators. We have a 2, a 4, a 3, and a 6. So down here below, we are going to find the LCD of 2, 4, 3, and 6. And sometimes you can just look at that and know what the answer is. And if not, do you remember this method? You take each number, 2, well, that's prime, that equals 2. 4 equals 2 times 2. 3 is just 3, and 6 is 2 times 3. And to get the LCD must contain all of those. So it has to contain a 2. And then I go to the next one. Well, it has to contain 2 2's. And then it has to contain a 3. So we put that in there. And then I go to the last one. It has to contain a 2 and a 3. Well, we've got that. So our LCD is 2 times 2 times 3, which is 12. So now that we've found that LCD, ooh, we love that 12. What are we going to do with it? We're going to multiply both sides of our equation by 12. And when we do that, in the next step, we should see no more fractions. So let me clear some space down here. One thing I want to caution you on, do your work. If you need to multiply those numbers, do that elsewhere, because you don't want to lose that 12. Okay, so we're multiplying 12 times 1/2. So down here, I'm going to multiply 12 times 1/2. Throw that over 1. Cancel, cancel. We would end up with 6. So we would get 6x plus, and then 12 times 3/4. I'm going to do down here. Cancel this. We can always divide whatever the little denominator is here. You can always divide by that and get a 1 there. You would get a 3, so we've got 9x minus, and then 12 times negative 5/3, you would get negative 20, and 12 times 5/6, you would get 10. So I'm not doing this part for every step, but remember, you can multiply the 12 times each one of those fractions down here. Okay, so let's get some space here. So now, whoo, you like the way this looks better than the previous one. So let's see how long it takes us to do this. So we've got, cleaning up the sides, 15x minus 20 equals 10. We want to get that 20 on the other side, so we add 20 to both sides. When we add 20 to the left, we get 15x minus 20 plus 20, so it's going to be 15x plus 0, which we can just write as 15x. Add 20 to the other side, we would get 30. To get x all by itself, we need to divide by 15, and we would get the x all by itself on the left and 2 on the right. Oh, that was so much easier. Okay, let's take a look at another example with fractions. So the denominators, that's where we're looking. We see 6, 8, 12, and 3. So can we just say what we would find is the LCD of those numbers is 24. So however you get 24, I'm going to leave that part to you. And what do we want to do with the 24? We want to multiply both sides by 24. And when we do that, the result is 24 times 5y over 6. Put that over 1. You can always cancel that, and you would end up with 20y. You're going to do the same thing by multiplying 24 times that, and you would end up with a minus 21y, and multiply 24 times a negative 1/12, you would end up with 2. And over on the right, 24 times 1/3, you get 8, and does that look a lot easier? So in one step, we've gotten rid of all of those fractions. Now we just have to clean things up. Negative y minus 2 equals 8. Add 2 to both sides. Negative y equals 10. Multiply by negative 1, divide by negative 1, which has the effect of just changing every one sign, so we would get y equals a negative 10. Okay, I think I want to insert a page here. Let's see, insert a new page. Okay, because I want to make sure that you know if we have a problem such as, I'm going to have to, okay, so this is a new page, new problem. 1/2 x minus 3 equals 4/5 x plus, let's make it a 1. Okay, so what do we have to find the LCD of? Well, we only have two little denominators here, the 2 and the 5. The LCD between 2 and 5 is 10, so we know we're going to take both sides of our equation and multiply by 10. Okay, so we're going to use the distributive property. 10 times 1/2 x will give us 5x. Now, my question is, do we have to multiply 10 times a negative 3 because there's no fraction there? Well, yeah, we do. If we decide we're going to multiply both sides by 10, we got to multiply everybody by 10. So we would get, let's go back to black here. We would get 30 equals, and then 10 times 4/5 x is going to give us 8x, and then we still have to multiply 10 times 1, and we will get plus 10. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to get all of my variables on, let's say, the left. So I want to subtract 8x from both sides. The result of that will be a negative 3x minus 30 equals 10. And I want to add 30 to both sides. The result of that will be negative 3x equals 40. And I want to divide both sides by a negative 3. The left gives me a plain old x, and dividing the right by negative 3 gives me a 40 over negative 3. And we've got that floating negative. Mathematicians just don't like that negative down in the denominator, so the better way to write this would be, let that negative float up to the top to negative 40/3, or you can let it float out front to a negative 40/3. So either one of these answers is what we want. Okay, I think let's get through. Let me just tell you one thing, and then we'll go back to some examples here. And I'm having a hard time there. Okay, if there are parentheses, you want to clear those first. So remember that. Clear parentheses, then fractions. Okay, let's see if we can do this in 1 minute. Well, okay, there we go. Okay, we do have parentheses. We did this problem before, so I'm going to clear those parentheses first. 3/8 y minus 3/16 equals 1/8 y plus 1/16. We want to get rid of those fractions. The LCD would be 16. Multiply both sides by 16. Multiply both sides by 16. Result would be 6y minus 3 equals 2y plus 1. Subtract 2y from both sides. 4y minus 3 equals 1. Add 3 to both sides. 4y equals 4. Divide by 4. Y equals 1. So please remember, if you have parentheses, you have to clear those first. So in this problem, before we even thought about getting rid of those fractions, we had to, let me see, remember how we got there? We had to, híjole. I've lost things, and I've got 1 second here. We multiplied everything out before we even think about multiplying both sides by the LCD, which was 16. Okay, I'm running out of time, and I will see you in the next video.